This is going to feel like an episode of Dungeon Master Therapy. So sometimes I run what is called comic book logic, basically seeing as no legitimate limitations exist in world building, we are allowed to throw insane concepts and see what sticks or can make a good session. Hello, welcome to Concept Log, where today I'm going to be logging a concept made in the dead of night during an unpleasant car ride. Also, the Mafia is at your door. Hit the subscribe button now, or it will be kicked in and you will have a bad time. So let's start at the top of today's concept. Platypus is what I have named a eldritch abomination disguised as a humanoid platypus that runs a mafia within a town. So you may ask why this specific set of choices was made. For starters, I wanted a mafia, and I'm generally a fan of aberrations. But running a mafia needs the ability to talk with people without driving them mad. So he chose to take a platypus form, because the seaside nature of the town makes a semi-aquatic form helpful. The mafia is staffed by a handful of entities, most notably oozes with Uzis. Yes, you heard that right. I chose henchmen based on a play on words. The guns were obtained through eldritch trade from another corner of the universe, and they are stored within the slime's acidic body, making them difficult to steal. These minions make up the bulk of the threat to the town because the technology is very deadly. There are currently efforts by resistors to try and steal a gun for themselves, but the task has so far proved ineffective. You may ask, if guns don't work in water, should they not be made ineffective while stored inside a slime? I'm hand-waving that, but just remember we have established this logic, so guns should also work while submerged in any other liquid. Some additional monsters are also in order, so I chose to go for some kobolds. Let's give them a twist by saying they have plucked out their eyes and have a 10-foot blind sight as a result of an eldritch ritual. We can also give them the ability to cast fog cloud directly in front of them as if breathing it with dragon's breath. And to play into this theming, I'm also going to give them a small quantity of my bat dog feature. Now these should make some good minions, and that makes an okay enough head of the organization. But we need a couple leaders, some boss fights if you will. These will be the right hand man, the left hand man, and the third man hand of the group. First, I'm picturing a tiefling. Tieflings supposedly often grow to hate humanity as a result of being cast out of society in the lore, even if this doesn't happen in active play often. So let's go with that. We can also hand him a few warlock levels on account of working with an eldritch being. We are going to keep this one relatively uncomplicated and use him as the introductory arc to establish the state of the town. Next, let's make a more complex villain. I think a drow could be very fun in this context. So what I'm thinking is the drow's clan in the Underdark was being attacked, and just short of falling and everyone gets died, she was offered survival in exchange for service. Because of this background, she gets some poisoning skills, maybe a few spider-themed traits, and of course warlock levels. This isn't quite as off the wall as some of the early elements, so let's add a final trait where she has a large ego and desires fame. But all the people the Mafia rules over fear her. Between this and being cut off from her original people, she is lonely. So she throws overly extravagant parties and takes as many measures as possible to obtain love from the town. This, if exploited correctly, could also be used by the players to turn her against the Platypus Man. Finally, I think the final servant could be a bodyguard. I have selected my favorite choice for this, an Oathbreaker Paladin. This allows us to add a few undead to the Mafia armies, and make the final battle be more than just kill Eldritch Abomination. Now it's kill Eldritch Abomination and get past his bodyguard. I reckon, as a part of being an Oathbreaker, he needs a backstory. I think to save the loved one, while cliche, should run relatively effectively within the context of the D&D game. So let's throw into our town's jewelry shop that's ran by his sister that was terminally ill a while back, but he made a deal for her survival with Platypus. Now at this point you're probably asking, okay, but why on earth does a eldritch being care about the town anyways? And what does he gain from running a mafia? That's a good question. I'm going with gold within the context of D&D, as backed up by many spells, is some sort of magical channeling agent and has an inherent power to it. That power, in large amounts, is capable of allowing an eldritch being to grow into the full power of an eldritch god, which is why he seeks a large store of gold, so he is now running an extortion ring. You can also use this to tie in some Kuatoa into the campaign, which he may also be needing for his ascension. Now this allows for a fairly straightforward outsiders show up and save the town from bandits plot, with some wackier elements to stand out. This should make for a fairly engaging 3-part adventure.